Tonight, we expose three terrifying truths. First, the horrifying reality of child sacrifices in parts of Africa, where young lives are taken in unspeakable rituals for power and fortune. Then, we uncover the shocking story of Mokele-Mbembe, one of Africa's most infamous cult leaders, whose twisted teachings led to mass death. And finally, we head deep into the heart of the jungle, where eyewitnesses claim to have seen a creature lost to time.
Child sacrifice is not just a relic of the past. It is a terrifying reality in parts of Africa. Despite modernization, deep-rooted superstitions continue to fuel this gruesome practice. In Uganda, Tanzania, and other parts of East and Central Africa, belief in witchcraft and traditional magic leads desperate individuals to seek out human sacrifices, and their victims are often the most innocent of all. Many of these sacrifices are performed by witch doctors, or traditional healers, who claim that rituals involving the body parts of children can bring wealth, success, protection, and political power. Some people believe that sacrificing a child before the construction of a house or a business will ensure prosperity. Others believe that body parts, like blood, hearts, or genitals, can be mixed into potions that bring power and good fortune. These rituals are brutal. Victims are often kidnapped, their throats slit in ceremonial killings, and their bodies dismembered. Some are buried alive as offerings to spirits, while others are left to bleed out in forests or remote locations where no one will find them. One of the most well-known survivors of child sacrifice is Alan Sembatia. When Alan was just 7 years old, he was kidnapped by a man who took him deep into the Ugandan countryside. His captors slashed his neck, drained his blood, and left him for dead. Miraculously, he survived. Alan's case exposed a growing black market for child sacrifices in Uganda, where wealthy clients pay large sums to witch doctors to perform rituals. Some of these killings are even ordered by businessmen and politicians, who believe that sacrificing a child can help them rise to power. Another survivor, Mukisa, was just 6 years old when he was abducted by a neighbor and taken to a hidden ritual site. His captors cut off his genitals, believing that body parts taken from a living child were more potent. He was left to die but managed to crawl to safety and was later rescued. The horrors these children face are unimaginable, and for every survivor, there are dozens who are never found. Activists, law enforcement, and organizations like World Hope International are working to end this nightmare. Efforts include undercover operations to expose witch doctors, rescues of children in danger, and education campaigns to dismantle these harmful beliefs. Despite these efforts, the black market for child sacrifices remains active, fueled by superstition, secrecy, and corruption. Even when witch doctors are arrested, many escape conviction due to lack of evidence or powerful clients protecting them. Until the demand for these horrific rituals ends, the cycle of violence will continue. In the late 1980s, Uganda witnessed the rise of a charismatic yet deeply sinister figure, Mokele-Mbembe. A former prostitute turned self-proclaimed prophet, Mbembe claimed to receive messages from the Virgin Mary, warning of an impending apocalypse. Alongside Joseph Kibwetir, she founded the movement for the restoration of the 10 Commandments of God, a cult that strictly enforced religious obedience. Members had to obey every commandment to the letter, including absolute silence, daily confessions, and abandoning all material possessions. But as the new millennium approached, Mbembe's teachings took a terrifying turn. She and her leaders predicted the world would end on January 1st, 2000. They convinced their followers to give up everything, promising salvation. When the world did not end, members began asking questions. Fearing that her fraud would be exposed, Muirinda and her leaders staged a mass killing. On March 17, 2000, over 500 people, including children, were locked inside their church and burned alive. The fire was deliberately set, and the doors nailed shut to ensure no one escaped. Investigators initially believed it was a mass suicide, but forensic evidence later proved it was premeditated murder. In the aftermath, police discovered dozens of hidden mass graves filled with the bodies of members who had questioned the leadership. Despite an international manhunt, Credonia Muirinde was never found. Some believe she escaped into hiding, protected by former followers. Others think she was murdered by fellow cult leaders to ensure silence. To this day, her fate remains unknown. Deep within the heart of the Congo Basin, a legend has persisted for centuries. Locals speak of a creature known as Mokele-Mbembe, a massive dinosaur-like beast said to roam the swamps and rivers of Central Africa. Described as having a long neck, a thick body, and short, powerful legs, Mokele-Mbembe closely resembles a sauropod, a species thought to have gone extinct millions of years ago. For generations, local tribes have feared the creature, warning that it attacks boats and kills hippos that enter its territory. In the 20th century, European explorers and scientists launched expeditions into the Congo, hoping to capture evidence of the beast. Many returned with bizarre reports, strange footprints, large disturbances in the water, and frightened villagers who refused to go near certain rivers. In 1981, explorer Roy McCall led an expedition that uncovered massive footprints and consistent eyewitness descriptions of a long-necked beast. Despite the lack of physical evidence, belief in Mokele-Mbembe remains strong. Many scientists dismiss the legend, arguing that large animals like dinosaurs could not survive undiscovered in modern Africa. But believers point to the vast, unexplored jungles of the Congo, where new species are still being found. Until concrete proof emerges, Mokele-Mbembe remains one of the greatest cryptid mysteries of all time.
Africa holds many secrets, some horrifying, some inexplicable. Child sacrifices continue in the shadows. Cult leaders still manipulate the vulnerable, and deep within the jungles, creatures lost to time may still roam.